when we carry stuff, right? We're also, number one, we're always carrying ourselves, number one, right? So how we hold ourselves, how we walk, right, is super important. Let's use you as an example.
Sure.
Jump in. Anything to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like now more than ever, we're in this constant state of being here. We're on the computer, we're on our phone, you know, we're watching our kids at football, we're sitting on the bleachers like this, and you know, we're in a lawn chair watching soccer like this, and you know, it's easy to get lost in being in this constant state of not even relaxation. It's bad posture.
Yeah.
Our body was designed and wants to be here, and I think that plays into chronic discomfort and pain because we're always in a position that our body doesn't want to be in. Right? Yeah. So how do we correct that and set ourselves up for success? Constantly paying attention to how you're standing in space, where your chest is, where your shoulders are, where's my head, and that's just going to make it that much better for you when you start adding load to how you're standing.
Totally. There's a quick system that I go through, and I do this with my personal clients as well. I saw this way back in the day. I think it was Dr. Oz was on like Oprah, and he was talking about how to regulate your posture, how to do a little self-check-in throughout the day. Again, you know, how we hold ourselves is everything, and we're always communicating non-verbally through our body, right? Our body posture, how we're feeling. Oftentimes we're here, we're stressed out. We got a lot of things on our mind. We've got work, and we've got kids, we've got careers, and we can sort of, our body sometimes reflects that stress and that fatigue. So I'm going to use Trish over here as an example, and let's throw this off to the side for a second. Okay, so let's do like a 3/4 because I want to see the both front and back. Come on, right here as well, so you can see nice. Perfect. All right, back up just one sec so I can see your feet. All right. Okay, let's just check out a couple. Let's actually go full on with the camera.
Okay.
What I like, put your arms by your side, right? However you're standing, just relax for a moment. Just completely like you're in the grocery store. Typically, you know, look how I'm doing. I'm balancing on one leg. I'm like, you know, like this. Relax completely. Number one thing we want to do is we want to check in with our feet. Typically, right? We're balancing. We're shifting from one side to the next. So like you might find that right now, Trisha has more weight on her right side. Okay.
It's very hard for me to stand still. So.
Exactly. Right. So quick self-check-in. Find equal balance in both feet. That means you're gonna have to sort of straighten out yourself to begin with. Your feet align with the hips naturally. So find those hip bones in front. Specifically, you can feel them right here. Draw a line straight down, and that is the distance between your feet. Oftentimes, we're standing really close with our feet. Maybe we're, you know, and this, again, is reflecting something, you know, maybe some instinct.
As soon as I did that, I put more stress on my lower back. I can feel it.
Cool. So start with that little slightly wider stance. You want to feel relaxed. Again, maybe you kind of teeter back and forth and kind of feel that weight distribution, and then find what feels good in the center. Okay. From here, I oftentimes see people kind of like this. They're kind of soft in their knees, and they're kind of like they're in this half bent position here, and they stick here, right? So make sure that you're pushing your knees back, right? And you want to feel the weight, again, just like the squat, interestingly enough, right? Or just like the hinge. Balancing, there's 3 points of contact on your feet. The heel, the ball of the foot, and the toes. You want ideally all 3 of them touching the ground, right? But, you know, your center of gravity is not going to align with your toes. It's going to align with more of like between the balls of your feet and your heels, okay? So you want to make sure that we feel the weight sort of as we teeter forward and backwards, more that bridge, okay, where you can really feel the balls of the foot, right? So that's your gauge. You have the proper distance now between your feet. They're aligned with your hips, and now we move up to the chest. We talked about this as well like with the rows, making sure that your shoulders are drawn down and back, and that even if you have your shoulders down and back, sometimes people will pinch their shoulders down. Especially I see this a lot with, you know, people who are learning the vernacular and learning their body from a new angle. It's like, wow, they'll really pin these shoulders back. We don't want to go for a pinch. We want to go for a pin. So find that sweet spot. If you feel that tension, this is way too much right here, right? Then this is way too forward, right?
It's a sweet spot.
I want to find that sweet spot where I feel relaxed in my shoulders and my neck. Typically, this rotates the shoulders open a bit. So open up those hands all the way, palms facing good. Now we've opened up the shoulders. It's all this connected, right? When I open up my palms, I'm rotating open through my shoulders as well. From here, so we like this openness. The torso is lifted. I can feel that she's probably feeling more of her obliques engaged. the totality of her abdominal wall, all of it, not just hunched, right? I always like to imagine, why don't you turn just for a moment here? Perfect little model here. It's like someone has a gun to your back, right? And if someone has a gun to your back, you probably don't want that gun on your back, right? So what are you gonna do? You're gonna move away from it. But again, we're not gonna move so far away from it when we start to pinch. Right? That's too much of an arch, right? Now we're probably pushing our hips forward too much. Again, you gotta keep the weight evenly distributed. The lower back is relaxed here. There's not too much of too much of an arch in the back. Her chest is lifted, so automatically this is a core exercise. Proper posture is an ab workout. Look at her hands, face, go ahead, this turn. She's now with her arms open, right? This is not the way she's gonna walk. She's gonna now just twist the wrist forward so that her palms are facing you. Now, the shoulders are open, okay? The arms are relaxed. The bicep is open as well. Her chest is lifted, her neck is relaxed. She's finding her weight in her hips and her feet. I mean, this is the system that I go through. And especially when we're holding stuff, I'm doing the same thing. Shoulders are down and back, my core is engaged. Boom, I feel equally distributed in both of my feet. That's what I gotta say about that. For me, I like to have as narrow a spot when I'm doing around the world. We're swinging a kettlebell around, just like so here. I'll go definitely more narrow of a stance so that my feet aren't out too far and I hit the weight on my feet as I swing it around. But as I'm doing this, right, as she's doing it, she's keeping her chest lifted, right? Her core is engaged. And she's now kind of moving her feet side to side, so she's distributing her weight balance differently as she moves that weight as well. But a lot of that in the core, like upper shoulders, this stays in one place. Great core exercise here. Let's bring it up. Let's bring that weight up to the chest now. Let's say they're doing some marches in place. You've got this way. You're doing a goblet squat, right? Just for the sake of, if you're doing a squat, obviously you'll know what to do with your feet. You know, you'll be in that proper hip width stance. I sometimes like to go a bit shoulder width. Of course, when you're doing sumos, you can go even heavier or even wider with that stance. Get those toes out. With this, again, you're holding weight now. We brought it up from around our lower body to right at our chest. Even more important, perhaps, arguably, to keep those shoulders back now. Keep the core engaged. None of that hunching. The further she pushes out that weight, the more she's really going to feel it. Not that you have, I mean, look, you can do it right now if you want, but there's a lot that's going to be happening with her lower back and her mid-back section as well. And even my shoulders. The more you push it out, the harder it's going to get because now you're distributing the weight, the center of gravity. Yeah, she's feeling this one right now. Now, as she fatigues, let's hold it here a little bit longer. How much more important is it to keep those shoulders back? They want to fatigue. She's now probably engaging a lot more bicep. I can feel those guns right there. A lot more core strength needed here. And that's pretty much what we got. I think we're good. Let it go. Hey, nice job. Woo! Woo! All right.
That was good.
Perfect.
Damn, that's